right. Hello, adventurers, and well met. Master of Dungeons here with another edition of Tavern Talks of the Shifty Boar, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern, here on twitch.tv/the Master of Dungeons, where we do pretty much everything D&D. Some D&D adjacent stuff, some more Monday evenings, more of a horror game thing going on, but on Tuesday or Wednesdays, I should say, for Tavern Talks, we discuss things Dungeons and Dragons, kind of the new stuff that's out. Currently, we're finishing up the Playtest 5 packet from the Unearthed Arcana from Wizards of the Coast, dealing with 1D&D, the new books that are going to come out next year, 2024, for the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons. Last week we went over the first part of this, the second part of this, I should say. We started it a couple weeks back. This is the Playtest Packet 5. We also have the Playtest Packet 6 ready to look over when we finish up with 5 tonight. We did leave off, we finished off the Warlock last week, and now we're going to be looking at the Wizard. See some of the changes. They did change and get rid of the pack magic in Playtest 5. So this is just explanation of wizards. It goes over your class features all up to level 20, the number of spells that you can have, and all of that. Of course, they, as mentioned in previous episodes, they did move the capstone, which used to be the 20th level ability, down to 18th level, so they can introduce epic boon feats. Looks like they're finally calling them epic boons. They changed them, the wording, obviously, so it's going to be finalized when the final bit comes out. So here are the updates so far on the design notes for the wizard. Spellcasting now allows you to use your spellbook as a spellcasting focus. That's cool. And they actually added a feature in for wizard spellbook now, instead of just having a spellbook as a sidebar in there. Your wizard only spell scribe spell, alright? They did go back to using cantrip term instead of the zero cast spell. Academic is a second level feature. Arcane recovery, remove first, second level. Memorize spell, modify spell, create spell, spell mastery, signature spell, epic boon spells. Epic boon feat. We might have touched on a little bit of the wizard last week, because I believe we were looking over some of the modify spells as well, to be able to modify the different spells. It's been a very, very long week. We had a author drop out for Gen Con, and we have to, me and my fellow story lead are having to go over and create an adventure specifically for Gen Con, which is, we've got a couple more weeks. We're chugging along pretty well with that, but haven't really had a chance to even look back at last week's stream. So stuff about Evoker, I think, is what we might have left off on, because I do recall us talking about the memorize spell, modifying the spells with the different ways to modify the spells in the spell section. The Evoker, sculpting spells still, yeah. So maybe it was the rules glossary we had finished up with last week for D20 tests. But luckily we do have already pulled up the PT6. Let's go ahead through and look through some of the rules glossary, however, for the changes that they made. Obviously the change log from the previous versions. Death saving throws replaces the dying condition. Influence action clarifies the DM drives both the use and the DCs of the action. True sight clarifies the appearance of visual illusions to the creature with true sight. Removed the entries for all of these things. Okay. Armor training purpose the same. Attack as an action. Equipping and unequipped weapons. They obviously you can draw or stow a weapon, equip or unequip as it is, before the attack or after the attack. that action economy was just a little messed up in 5th edition standard as it is. Like putting away a weapon to draw a bow, or putting away a bow to draw a weapon, things along those lines. If you move and turn, you can use, of course, breaking up your movement in between. Climb speed, traverse vertical things. With spider climb, you can underside of horizontal surfaces. Creature types pretty much the same. D20 tests. Daze basically kind of is like the old slowed condition. I think it's one of the Tasha's spells also did something like that. Third successful death save, you gain 1 hit point because you're unconscious. Start short rest, yes. Difficult terrain. I'll give you extra difficult terrain. Examples. Double proficiency bonus with expertise, pretty much the same. Yes, that's a hover trait is something in 5th edition that a lot of people weren't really sure exactly how that worked. Something at hover, they basically, like if you were knocked prone or anything like that, they wouldn't fall from the sky. Heroic advantage now instead of inspiration. So they did clarify this a little bit more than the actual 5th edition player's handbook. Normally when you knock someone out, when you reduce them to 0 hit points, instead of killing them, the monster or whatever, you would just knock them unconscious. And it looks like they're definitely continuing on with the being at 1 hit point and unconscious and start a short rest. Gain all hit dice now instead of just half the hit dice that you have. That's interesting. It's really going to be interesting how exhaustion works, considering that you just get 1 decreased by 1 level, and there's 10 levels now instead of 6. They also, I think we discussed that in previous things about your allies are no longer difficult terrain. Hello, Safi. How's it going? Just finishing up the PT5 from last week. Getting ready to move over to PT6. Some of these things, obviously, these glossaries are going to change in PT6. Talks about true sight. All right. Let's go ahead and check out Player's Handbook Playtest 6. Again, when playtesting these, again, you can also, if you want to try these out, you can join the virtual D&D weekends. We do run some of those, partnered with Ballman Games and Wizards of the Coast, where they do run some of the playtest material. And if you play Adventurers League, it is you can play those changes. Make a new race with a burrow speed. Nice. That'd be really fun. But yeah, the virtual D&D weekends, most of the games, not all of them, most of the games are Adventurers League organized play, and Ballman Games has been given permission by Wizards of the Coast to run some of these playtests with some of these playtest rules in official Adventurers League games. So in here we have, of course, if you're using these playtest materials, you could, they say to go ahead and use the 2014 Player's Handbook, except the noted changes in the playtest material. All right, so in this one just came out last week, or the week maybe just before the 4th, I think, towards the end of the last week of June, beginning of July. So 7 new classes, 7 classes: Bard, Cleric, Druid, Monk, Paladin, Ranger, and Rogue, going through all the different changes that they made since we saw the expert classes for Ranger and Rogue, the priests and such like that. And then 2 new subclasses: the College of Dance, the Circle of the Sea, that's interesting. Revised feats, revised weapon table and weapon mastery options are here. Of course, the rules glossary. Again, talking about how to play test, power level and feedback, and all of that as well. Yeah, sorry, Saf, I still haven't fixed the long chats. I'm gonna have to talk with my Twitch producer about that. He's taking a little bit of a relaxation month of July, which is understandable. All right, Bard updates. Here are the main updates in this class. Bardic Inspiration has returned to its 2014 form. Bardic Inspiration die is used in response to failing a D20 test. You no longer have to guess whether you failed, so it's only if you fail. And 2, the creature does up to an hour, not just 10 minutes to use the die. So the healing option in the previous Bard playtest has been removed because in playtesting the healing option was encouraging too much usage hoarding and not enough. The Bard not using Bardic Inspiration at all. Oh, I see. So to save up their Bardic Inspiration for healing instead. Interesting. So spell casting for the Bard. 2 noteworthy changes. Each Bard gets to choose whether to use the Arcane, Divine, or Primal spell list. And spell preparation is no longer tied to the level of your spell slots. The first change leans into the fact that the Bard might have learned their arts in Arcane, and Divine, or Primal context. And the second change was widely requested in the playtest feedback. Jack of all trades is returned back to 2nd level. Bard subclass levels now match the level progression in the 2014 Bard, ensuring compatibility with subclasses already in print. So I'm thinking 30 foot per speed, only lose soil. That's a pretty cool idea. Maybe have some sort of feat that goes along that you could add in that like close quarter fighting, or maybe even add something to the like tavern brawler feat or something that would allow them to maybe even melee inside their tunnels. That's a pretty cool idea. I like it. So it looks like they put a lot of stuff back to 5th level there, and you can use the font. Counter chime's been back to 7th level, and use a reaction rather than action. Okay, so the epic boon feats will return to what you've built into the class's level progression. So are they going to be putting in a new capstone for everything? Oh, Wormfolk, that's interesting. Hit points are the same, any skills of your choice. Simple weapons, light armor training. Musical instruments of their choice. It's hard to get the following class features. Bardic Inspiration. It's a bonus action. You can inspire another creature within 60 feet of yourself who can see or hear you. Creature gains one of your Bardic Inspiration dice. One at a time. Next hour. So I thought they changed that. Okay, so the use of the Bardic Inspiration die is in response to failing a D20 test. Alright. So it's still a bonus action for the Bard to give it out, but it's just, I didn't even say it's a reaction, it's just in response, so I don't know if that using a, so I guess we're using the Bardic Inspiration would not be using a reaction, which is cool. Charisma modifier, again, all expended uses when you finish a long rest. I wonder why they went back to Charisma modifier when they're doing a lot of the stuff as proficiency bonus. Of course, the changes for the different tiers. That should be a die 8 at 5th level, a die 10 at 11th level, a die 12 at 6th or 17th level, but I don't know, maybe they're changing up the way the tiers are set up, I don't know. Spellcasting at 1st level. Choose your list. So whatever list you choose, Vicious Mockery always counts as a bard or a cantrip for you, depending, no matter what list you choose. For the first level spells from your bard spell list. The number of spells on your list also increases as you gain bard levels. Expertise in 2 skills of your choice. Jack of all trades. This is something that's interesting too, that they're putting actually in the each section is There is a rule in the player's handbook, it's like in the first 4 or 5 pages, that says round down is the rule, unless something changes. Again, as we've mentioned before, specific beats general. So there's specific rules, or there's general rules like the round down, and then there's specific rules that can break that general rule. I think there's an ability for a wizard where you round up. Your subclass, dance, glamour, lore, and valor at the moment. Ability score improvement feat or another feat of your choice. I do like that they're getting rid of the quote-unquote variant of using the feats, whereas the feats are just now coming back to be part of the game. Put your bardic inspiration back for a short rest. So you can spend a spell slot to give yourself back bardic inspiration. You can only do so once per turn. So that's pretty cool if they fail to save, so you don't have to actually counter charm on your turn and to try to resist these types of things. What you do is just basically, if you have a reaction and a creature fails the saving throw against an effect that applies the charm in a frightened condition, you can use your reaction to cause the save to be re-rolled. The new roll has advantage, so it actually becomes a lot more powerful than the old counter charm because it doesn't have any number of specific uses. You can just do it as a reaction. Not as powerful, obviously, as counter spell because that obviously requires a spell slot and is a lot more powerful. This just gives them a chance to re-roll their save. So I can definitely see that, but it's definitely more powerful than the old counter charm. Expertise again. So at Magic Secrets at 10th level, you gain access to all 3 of the spell lists instead of just the one you start off with. I don't know, it's interesting. I might have split that up between a couple of different ones, like you gain a second one out of the first initial 3, and then you finally gain a third one. I don't know. Playtest material. Other ability score improvement. Initiative. It's really interesting that they're going to this mechanic of if you roll initiative and you don't have something of one of your features, you gain something back from it. It's interesting. Words of Creation. Alright, this new 20th level ability. Master 2 of the prime words of creation, the words of life and death. You always, therefore, have the Power Word Heal and Power Word Kill spells prepared, and when you cast either spell, you can target a second creature with the spell, provided the creature is within 10 feet of the first target. Oh, wow. So you always have them prepared. You can't cast them for free, but you always have them prepared. Alright. Saw some people, some of my our community members talking about the College of Dance. It's going to be interesting to check that out. So, let's see. College of Dance. Part of the College of Dance know the words of creation can't be contained within speech or even song. They are uttered by the movements of celestial bodies and flow through the motions of even the smallest creatures. These bards of dances are freed from the constraints of a single point in space and time. Alright, let's see where they get it. Level 3. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know if I like them. I'm a fan of the description of the College of Dance, making it more meta and cosmos and metaphysical and such like that. So basically, it's College of Dances appears so far like a blade singer. Base armor class equals your dex and your charisma. There's my familiar, she's awake. Use of your bardic inspiration as part of an action, bonus action, or reaction. You can make one unarmed strike as part of that action, bonus action, or reaction. Interesting. See a lot of bard rogues. Or no, it just depends on what they changed in the rogue. Use your dexterity instead of strength for attack rolls of those unarmed strikes. When you deal damage with an unarmed strike, you can deal bludgeoning damage equal to a roll of your bardic inspiration die plus your dexterity modifier, but the roll does not expend the inspiration die. Inspiring movement. An enemy you can see is this turn within 5 feet of an ally of yours who is within 60 feet of you. You can use your reaction to expend one use of your bardic inspiration to move up to half your speed. Then roll your bardic inspiration die, and the ally can move up to a number of feet equal to 5 times the number rolled. None of this features movement provokes opportunity attacks. Wow. That's interesting. What do you think of that? That's a pretty large area of 60 feet. Now keep in mind too, this is ending its turn. And I like when they say ending its movement. I should say I didn't like that there was a lot of times was ending its movement because you can break up your movement. So the problem that people had a lot with like the scout, where the scout could use their reaction to move, was very confusing to a lot of players sometimes, because if by stating it when it ends its turn instead of ending its movement. I like when it says those now, because like if it was end its movement and their movement really doesn't end, it wouldn't necessarily trigger someone's ability to use their reaction. Interesting. Alright, leading evasion. When you're subject to an effect that allows you to make a dex saving throw to take only half damage, instead take no damage if you succeed on the saving throw, and you take only half damage if you fail. If any creatures within 5 feet of you are making the same dexterity saving throw, you can share this benefit with them for that save. So it's okay, the players don't have to worry about fireball formations anymore. Spread out, everyone. No, stay close to the bard and the paladin. Chain of footwork. When you roll initiative, you can spend one use of your bardic inspiration if you don't have the incapacitated condition. When you do so, roll your bardic inspiration die and choose a number of creatures within 60 feet of yourself up to a number equal to your charisma modifier. Each of them gains a bonus to their initiative equal to the number rolled. Whew. I can definitely see why people would want to be playing College of Dance Bard. That's pretty powerful stuff. You always have the auto resistible dance, 14th level ability. Cast it without expending a spell slot. Once you cast the spell in this way, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. You also restore your use of bardic inspiration by expending 4 uses. The use of this feature by expending 4 uses of your bardic inspiration. No action required. Of course, keep in mind it says that you always have it prepared, so you can cast it free without expending a slot. You can either spend 4 uses of your bardic inspiration. No action required. But see, that's the difference here, is that, and don't get me wrong, it's just the wording of how they're wording it, is that you have a number of bardic inspirations equal to your charisma modifier. So there are some people that do not optimize, as it were, and might not have a charisma modifier of a +4 at 14th level. which is why I was mentioning earlier that it might be better for them to go back to the whole proficiency bonus thing instead of their charisma modifier. But what I was meaning was that they can expend their uses of Bardic Inspiration to get back the feature, or you can spend a spell slot to cast it, because you always have it prepared, so you can always use a spell slot to cast it. All right, that was college dance. Looks pretty cool. I like it. Again, I am pretty much the forever DM, so it's interesting just to see how how players use them in the adventures. It's going to be fun to check out. College of Glamour. So we already have the Glamour. The Glamour Bard's already there. The College of Glamour's already in here. Here's the main updates since its appearance in Xanathar's. Okay, so Mental Inspiration now grants a number of temporary hit points determined by a roll of Bardic Inspiration. The thing about temp hit points is you see a lot of Twilight Clerics, which I love seeing Twilight Clerics because you can really hammer as a DM and not worry about too much about harming the PCs and having really fun, active, dramatic combat going on with a Twilight Cleric there, because every round Twilight Cleric's giving you 10, 15, especially at mid-level and up range. Even at lower level, Twilight Clerics are great for that. So I'm not sure if really extra things that give temporary hit points on. Again, just initial reaction. Formerly enthralling performance called Beguiling Magic now. Okay. Man of Majesty now ensures you always have the command spell prepared. So Beguiling Magic, you always have Charm Person and Mirror Image spells prepared. Always need to go back through, and obviously they're going to do that in the final presentation of the books, but to make sure that they have the wording as when you always have them prepared, that they don't count against the prepared spells that you already have. That way someone's not reading, because I guarantee you someone's going to read it as, well, you only prepare this many spells, and they have to be of those because you always have them prepared. So obviously they'll have some wording in the finalization. In addition, immediately after you cast an enchantment or illusion spell, you can cause a creature you can see within 60 feet of you to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the target has the charmed or frightened condition. Your choice for 1 minute. That's giving us an extra, basically kind of like an extra spell. Like kind of almost casting two types of spells, or two spells in one round, because not only do you cast your enchantment or illusion spell, but you can also, that's pretty strong. I don't remember reading the Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Does anyone knows that enthralling performance pretty close to the same thing? Oh, okay, so it's not too bad. You can only use it once for long rest. But you can only have to get rid of a Bardic Inspiration die, just one of them, to get it back. That's pretty powerful ability. I'm really interested to see what we get to the rogue. As I mentioned, some of the community members were even more turned off by the rogue, even more so, I guess. That's what they mentioned. I haven't read any of this playtest material yet. Mantle of Inspiration at 3rd level. They're getting extra. Wow, they're getting a lot of. So the bard gets 2 things at 3rd level. Or the dance, 2 things at 6th level, and the 14th. All right. Mantle of Inspiration. Weave Fey magic into song or dance to fill others with vigor. As a bonus action, you can expend the use of Bardic Inspiration, rolling a Bardic Inspiration die. When you do so, choose a number of creatures within 60 feet of yourself up to a number equal to your Charisma modifier. Now those are the types of things that I can see them using for your ability score adjustments, or for your ability score modifiers. Those types of things, like you can affect so many creatures up to your charisma modifier, but your expended uses of these certain things should be tied to their proficiency bonus. Each of them gains a number of temporary hit points equal to 2 times the number rolled on the Bardic Inspiration die. And each of them can use its reaction to move up to its speed without provoking opportunity attacks. Oh my goodness. Wow. Alright. You always have the command spell prepared. As a bonus action to cast command without expending a spell slot. You take on an unearthly appearance for 1 minute or until your concentration ends, as if you were concentrating on a spell. During this time, you can cast command as a bonus action without expending a spell slot. Any creature charmed by you automatically fails its saving throw against the command you cast with this feature. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. You can also restore use of your feature by expending a spell slot at 3rd level or higher. Again, they're wanting to streamline the game, but then they're changing. Some of them you get back if you use the Bardic Inspiration usage. Some of them you get back if you expend a spell slot. Hopefully, a lot of people in the surveys will say, hey, clean this up a little bit. It's kind of like back in the 90s when we would go in and the confusing card in Magic the Gathering would come out because they hadn't put in their standardized wording, which we kind of helped with back in the day as one of their higher level judges, but was to get the wording to where any sort of ability or anything that comes out with like a new ability in Magic comes out, the wording is already standardized, which they really need to take a pass at for Dungeons and Dragons. That's definitely going to make it a lot simpler by, like, for example, you have spells in 5th edition right now that I think we mentioned a few weeks back, perhaps maybe we haven't, but there's a certain spells that when you end your turn there, and there's certain spells when you begin your turn there. There's certain spells that when it appears, or when a creature enters the area for the first time. And that does confuse a lot of dungeon masters and players alike when they think, well, when you enter it for the first time, that's when it's cast. Like, for example, web. Web is when you begin your turn there or enter the area for the first time. That's when the web effect happens. So a lot of players and DMs alike will think, well, when the web appears, you're entering the area. And the character or creatures or whatever that's affected by the web aren't entering the area for the first time. The spell is entering their area, which is why if they finish their turn there, then other ones are when it appears, it happens, and then if they end their turn there. So that type of wording, I like both of those types of situations, and they need to find both of those different types of effects of the spells. They need to find some sort of wording that is consistent with all of your class features and all of that stuff like that. And obviously need to make some sort of clarification for those so that newer players, newer DMs understand what the difference is in the two. And then, okay, so Mantle of Majesty was the crazy command ability. And then 14th level, Unbreakable Majesty. As a bonus action, you can assume a magically majestic presence for 1 minute until you have the incapacitated condition. Now notice this one does not have you have to concentrate. For the duration, whenever any creature hits you with an attack roll for the first time on a turn, the attacker must succeed on a charisma saving throw against your spell save DC, or the attack misses instead as the creature recoils from your majesty. Once you assume this majestic presence, you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest. Again, it's like again, just my initial reactions. There's some of them you don't get it back until you finish a long rest, or you can expend a spell slot. Some of them you don't get it back until you finish a long rest, or expend a Bardic Inspiration die, and then some of them you don't get back until you finish a short rest or a long rest. What they should do is, for each level of when you gain these abilities, like for third level, you get those back if you do this certain thing, like a long rest and expending an inspiration die. The 6th level abilities, you make it to where they can either get a long rest or use a spell slot to get them back. And then the higher level ones, make all of them. You can finish a short rest or a long rest to get these back. Have another couple of viewers. Welcome in, everyone. All right, so College of Lore, which is my favorite college. It was one of the first ones in, of course, in the Player's Handbook. Let's see what changes they've made since the last one. This is the last play test. Sorry, I haven't trimmed my beard in a little while. So bonus proficiencies go to any skill. That's good. Once more reduced damage. And that was removed, had been removed because of the now removed healing option. That's cool. Additional magical secrets has returned and now allows you to replace one of the chosen spells each time you gain a bard level. Peerless skill now if it's both ability checks and attack rolls, not just ability checks. Interesting. So it's going to be. I want to wait and read it first. But my initial reading of the magical discoveries kind of was like, doesn't that really, kind of supplement some of the other ability, actual bard class, not subclass abilities. We'll see. Learn how to use your wit to supernaturally distract, confuse, and otherwise sap the confidence and competence of the creatures. Like I said, it's been a while. I think it's been like 2 years since I played my Lore Bard. For some reason, I was thinking that you could use your reaction to expend one of your Bardic Inspiration dice to roll the die and subtract that from the number that the creature rolled for the attack roll. Am I wrong with that? Does anyone in chat recall what that ability was? I didn't know it was reducing damage. I thought the cutting words actually reduced the ability to attack, like you were insulting them enough to distract them, to maybe cause the attack to miss. Oh, there we go. If I could read, it does say ability check or attack roll right there. I skipped right over there for some reason. That's hilarious. And see, this doesn't have a, well, I guess you can use your bonus action to expend a spell slot to get back a Bardic Inspiration. Which is why some of this is a little confusing to me, I guess, but I am old. Magical discoveries. You learn 2 spells of your choice. From the Arcane, Divine, or Primal spell list, or any combination thereof. Spell you choose a specific cantrip or a spell for which you have spell slots. Always have the chosen spells prepared. Whenever you gain a bard level, you can replace one of those spells with another spell that meets the requirements above. Imperial skill. When you make an ability check or attack roll and fail, expend Bardic Inspiration die, roll it, and add that number to the die 20. failure, the bardic inspiration is expended. Cool. College of Valor. Use a weapon as a spellcasting focus to cast your spells from the Bard spell list. Combat inspiration has 2 changes. The defense option is not triggered by being hit. The offensive option works. The offense option works with attacks of any kind, not just weapon attacks. Interesting. Creature is hit by an attack roll. That creature can use its reaction to roll a bardic inspiration die and add the number rolled to its AC against the attack, potentially causing the attack to miss. And after the creature hits the target with attack roll, you can roll bardic damage, bardic die to roll the damage. Proficient with martial weapons and armor training with medium armor and shields. I can't see the change to this if only the Bard could use it, because obviously they're looking at Valor, but I could also see the option to work with any kind of attack. Extra attack twice. Battle magic, it's a bonus action. Huh, College of Valor looks pretty interesting. I don't know the dance and the lore. The dance. Wow, goodness, the dance and the what was the other one there? Glamour. That College of Dance part, though, that's pretty tough. All right, Cleric. Let's see what they changed in the Cleric from the previous playtests. Probably called Holy Order, moved from 2nd level to 1st level. Thaumaturge option has been redesigned to include elements from the former Thaumaturge and Scholar options. Spell preparation is no longer tied to the level of your spell slots. Something I always would like to see them do in 5th edition, but I mean, they are trying to make it simple, a little bit more simplified, which is understandable. They want to attract newer players and such like that, and make the game a little more streamlined. But I really enjoyed the old abilities of the spellcasters to have different spells, or have added spell slots depending on their ability score modifier from their primary spellcasting ability. I also like that your intelligence modifier improved the number of languages that you could know when your character started off. And if your ability score improved, you could get a new language. So, Channel Divinity returns to the 2nd level. Number of uses now increases with your Cleric level and is based on your proficiency bonus. Channel Divinity. It's a long time to just have 3 uses. And you gain 1 use whenever you finish short rest. subclasses now start at third level instead of, I think it was second level when you picked that stuff before, I think. So if you smite undead, if you turn them, it would not end their turn effect. Some new one, improved Blessed Strikes, new 14th level feature, Divine Intervention redesigned to allow reliable results. Replace Epic Boon, 20th level, for greater Divine Intervention. Okay, so creating the Cleric is there. We'll go through finishing looking at the Cleric, and then we'll save the subclasses for next week. So let's look at the Divine Order, Protector, train for battle, gain martial weapon proficiency, and heavy armor training. Those used to be specific to the different, like your domain, like War Cleric or Life Cleric even. That's all. I think got martial weapons and heavy armor. So now everyone can choose one of the two. I still think they need to change religion skill checks from intelligence religion to wisdom religion. As you can still have knowledge, like you can have someone roll like an intelligence history check in place, like using the replacing skills with other skills and abilities in Xanathars. Rules on spell casting. Goes through your. Those are the additive things from Tasha's. Just adding that into the player's handbook for now. Through the same prepared spells. If there's long rests, you can change them. Spark, turn it dead. Restore hit points. Or force them to make a con save to do damage. Of course, those increase at odd levels. Again, very odd levels. If they want to keep it standard, they should just keep it tier based. 5th, 11th, and 17th level. Turn undead. Alright, we're going to stop here on page 12. It is close to the top of the hour to bring the stream to a close. As you can possibly hear, my cat, my familiar, she is awake and she is crying for some food. So we're going to go ahead and finish up for today. We'll come back next week for Tavern Talks and finish up, hopefully finish up, maybe not. We might have a couple more weeks to examine these. But just a reminder, we will be back tomorrow from 2 to 4 p.m. with our Dungeon Delving on Thursday, Eastern Time. We, again, are playing Lord of the Rings Online, D&D adjacent to the game. We do play on the Land of All server. It's a free-to-play MMO if you want to check that out. We will be off this Friday. As it is for Dungeon Delving, as it is our virtual D&D weekend. We normally don't have our live stream on Sunday evenings because of the virtual D&D weekend, but I have incorporated it into where we are able to still have our live play stream on Sunday evenings. You'll see my mug on the screen, and of course my Roll20 screen. You will hear the voices of the players as we will be streaming my 7 p.m. game from the virtual D&D weekend games here on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/themasterofdungeons. we'll introduce all of those players with their characters and everything on Sunday evening. So we will be running, instead of 7 to 10, we will be running 7 to 11 this coming Sunday for that live play game. And of course, we'll be back on the following Monday as well with our Around the Campfire and Dungeons and Deliberations on Tuesday. Sorry I missed out last night. I did have a family obligation that I completely forgot about, and at the last minute we had to cancel the stream from last night. But we'll be back next week with some Dungeons and Deliberations, talking about some world building. Again, updating my campaign world to 5th edition in some of the areas I haven't had a chance to update yet. Preparing for hopefully towards the end of August, maybe beginning of September, a second live play game that we'll do on Thursday evenings. Until then, of course, thanks for checking us out tonight. Hey Nova, just finishing up here. So I want to thank, of course, everyone that stopped in to check us out today. Thanks to all of our supporters, especially our patrons from Patreon. If you'd like really to help support the channel, please consider becoming a patron on Patreon or subbing here on Twitch. Again, twitch.tv/themasterdungeons. The link to our Patreon, of course, as well as all of our social media accounts, can be found in the About Us section below here on Twitch. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, give us some likes, some retweets, all of that good stuff. Like and share and subscribe to our YouTube stuff really would help out a lot. We got lots and lots of views, and definitely could use some more subs there on the channel. If you do subscribe to us on YouTube, make sure to click the notifications. Our new videos of the streams that we have here pop up every Monday afternoon, usually between 3 and 5 p.m. Eastern. Of course, every sub, like, and share does help us immensely. If you want to join our community, you can join the Master of Dungeons Community Discord server. The link has been popping up here during the chat. It's also down below in the About Us section here on Twitch. Just click on that Discord panel and it will give you an invitation to our community Discord server, where you can help shape a caring, inclusive, and accepting community. The merch store is available. That's another way you can help us out here at the channel. Go pick yourself out some Master of Dungeons merch. There's some t-shirts, hoodies, some caps, some other glassware, things of that nature. And thanks for just tuning in and helping out. Everyone's been very supportive. It's been helping out a lot as we're coming to the close of our 5th month streaming. So far, so good. And yes, Nova, I did get that, and I will get to that when I get off the stream here. I definitely appreciate that, and we'll talk to everyone hopefully tomorrow again, as I mentioned, 2 to 4 for Dungeon Delving, Lord of the Rings Online. Until then, take care, thanks for watching, and as always, happy adventuring.